Hi guys, it's Josh Lloyd here, ready to give you the first look for the DraftKings slate for Monday in the NBA Monday, the 28th of December. We're looking at here 5 games on. While you're at it, hey, you're here right now. Why don't you just click like down below, click subscribe, hit the bell as well for your notifications, and let's go. Let's talk about these games. I'm not here to muck around. The first game we're going to look at, it is the Pistons. It is the Atlanta Hawks. The Pistons are going to be resting Blake Griffin and Derrick Rose in this game. So that opens up some value for us. They've been pretty hesitant, or Dwayne Casey's been pretty hesitant in playing guys like Killian Hayes, but he's not really going to have that much of a choice unless he's going to rely upon Frank Jackson. Delon Wright's probably going to get some more minutes. And at the forward spots, Jeremy Grant's going to get a lot, but someone else has to start. Will it be Sekou Doumbouya? Will it be Saddiq Bey? Regardless, those guys are going to get a boost in minutes. And Jahlil Okafor is also questionable with an ankle problem. So maybe Isaiah Stewart's in the mix. Not that he's going to play that much behind Mason Plumlee. But there is going to be a value open up here. I'm really interested in Delon Wright, who played big minutes in the overtime game the other day. He's at 4,600. He's going to get some ball handling chances as well. And I do think Mason Plumlee is going to get a bit of a boost in usage. He's a $5,700 player, which looks pretty good to me. If you're looking for a flyer type, Killian Hayes at 42 hasn't been great to start things off this season, just averaging the 10 points per game, but I don't mind him as a flyer without Derrick Rose there. On the Hawks side, Clint Capella's been upgraded to probable, while Danilo Gallinari is questionable. Now, Capella's presence is probably going to have a limit on guys like John Collins, who's had his own limits with foul trouble, and maybe the appearance of Danilo Gallinari limits Reddish and Herter and the other guy that I can't think of, DeAndre Hunter, who's been playing pretty well also. So the Atlanta guys might be a bit squished. Hunter at 4,800 is not bad, but I think there is some risk in using him. The value to me is all on the Detroit side with Wright, Plumlee, Hayes, even someone like Doumbouya, who's at 3,400, or Saddiq Bey, who comes in at minimum salary 3,000. There is a lot of value on the Detroit side of this slate because of the absences of Blake Griffin and the absences of Derrick Rose. It's not going to be easy to for Dwayne Casey to limit the minutes of guys like Hayes and Bey and Doumbouya. They're going to have to play more, and that's going to be useful. If Okafor's out, I think that helps Plumlee a little bit, and maybe you throw someone like Isaiah Stewart in there, although probably not. Whereas the Hawks guys, with almost everyone there is going to be a real squish on their overall playing time, would be my guess. The next game that we take a look at, it is the Brooklyn Nets and it is the Memphis Grizzlies. I'm going to go ahead at this point and assume that Kevin Durant isn't playing. I'm also going to assume that Spencer Dinwiddie isn't playing. Dinwiddie hurt his knee on Sunday. I'd say it's almost definite that he won't play. We don't know for sure whether Durant's going to play on a back-to-back. I would make that assumption that he doesn't, especially after playing 36 minutes on Sunday. As for Kyrie, I'd say he's a significantly higher chance of playing than Durant is, but there is a chance that he rests as well. If those guys are out, you're looking at Karis LeVert to carry a pretty large role. He's at 6,600 LeVert, which would be really, really strong to get him in there. But I'm not discounting players like Taurean Prince, who might get a start if Durant is out at 3,100, or Timothé Luwawu-Cabarrot, who was massive in the Nets' failed comeback bid. He's a $3,100 player. Prince is a $3,100 guy as well. Real value, I think, in those guys, assuming that the players we assume are going to be out are actually out. Jarrett Allen's at 5,800. He is really establishing himself as the best center on this team. Not that anyone really needed that much convincing, but he is establishing himself as that at this point. Would I want to spend 5,800 on him? Probably not, just given the limits on his upside with DeAndre Jordan there. But there is always the ability for him to have a 27 or 28 pointer. He has had a 32-point game this season, but I'm not really relying upon that. Ja Morant on the other side of things is the Grizzlies guy we obviously want to look at. He's at 8,300. There is no DeAnthony Melton. Morant is giving us big numbers. He's averaging, 55 points so far this season. Big usage. You like him as a safe play, also as an upside play. I don't like that Valanciunas is up to 7,700, but I'm also not completely against it because he's getting a ton of minutes, and if the shot goes in, he's looking all right. Dylan Brooks is always risky to use, and I wouldn't be super interested in that. And there is also a risk with Kyrie, just because we don't know whether he is going to play or not on the back-to-back. I do assume that he does, but maybe that assumption is incorrect. The Jazz, the Thunder, the third game of the day that we are looking at here. The Thunder finally got to see them on the court across the weekend. In terms of injury-wise, I think we're pretty okay here in this one. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's at 8,000. He had 46 in the opener. No reason to go away from him. And Al Horford is at 6,000. I don't think many people will be on Horf, so that could be an interesting GPP guy. He had 25 points while he only scored 3 real-life points in their first game. So if the shot starts going in, he looks all right. And I do like Darius Bazley, who is priced at a pretty nice price if I can find him there. 5,700 for Baze. He had 37 in the opener. It is a little bit of a tougher matchup going up against the Jazz than it is going up against the Hornets, but that is a really, really interesting spot. If we want to get funky, Teo Maledon, 3,100. We saw George Hill play and play well, but the minutes weren't huge for Hill. Just 24 minutes. He had 34 points there, and Hill is absolutely someone we can look at that 4,500 mark. Really strong opening game from him. I don't expect 34 fantasy points, but I think he can be useful. But Maledon is a little bit of a pivot type of guy that I don't think many people will be on. Donovan Mitchell, the Don. He's at 7,600. He is the Don, averaging 37 points. Absolutely no reason not to use Donovan Mitchell here. And I think we could also go cheap and look at Lou Dort at 4,300. Dort was super aggressive attacking the basket, and he had 29 points in the opener at 4,300. I feel all right about using him. I'm less interested in guys like Conley. Gobert at 74 looks pretty good, and I think he could have a real field day going up against Al Horford. All right, the fourth game, it is the Rockets, it is the Nuggets. We know that the Rockets, everyone's still out. No John Wall, no Eric Gordon, no DeMarcus Cousins, no Mason Jones, if you care about that sort of thing. A bunch of people out because of those COVID protocols, but James Harden's going to play. Christian Wood's going to play. That's really all you need to know. Christian Wood at 7,200 is, if you're playing in a cash game, I don't know how you can't have Christian Wood in. He will smash that number. He had 54 in the opener. He is going to put up some absolute monsters. Now, Nikola Jokic can be a handful for a lot of people, but Wood is going to get those numbers, and he's going to get them really, really comfortably. I love him at that price. Paul Millsap, not a bad option at 5,300 with JaMychal Green out again. He was a little bit of a dud on Christmas, but I think that could mean that his roster percentage is going to be lower in this one. That can give you a level of value there for Paulie Millsap. Harden at 11-2, just absolute smash. This is 70-point territory for Harden with no one else around. He is going to eat that number alive. And the other guy we've got to look at, which is, I never really thought I'd be saying this sentence, but Jayshawn Tate is a real NBA player, and he's a real option here. 4,100. He had 23 points in the opener. He got a lot of minutes. I wouldn't be 100% relying upon him, especially with an $1,100 price rise, but he's in play. But if you want to talk price variance, the Blue Arrow, the headmaster, Jamal Murray, he has dropped $1,400. So he is now at 7,100. He got it together in the second half of Christmas. He's still averaging 27 points despite not being at his best. As you can see, like averaging hitting 25% of his threes so far. I think he's a really, really strong bounce back candidate here. While Nikola Jokic is going to feast. I don't think we should double, triple think that. He's going to be really good. He's going to be 50 plus. If you don't want to go the Christian Wood route, well, you can have both of those guys. They've both got a chance to drop 50s, maybe even 60s, especially for Jokic. Real value in those guys. I think guys like Michael Porter are a lot more risky, considering the minutes and how Michael Malone uses him. And if you want to go wild, Broderick Thomas as a minimum salary player. He had 8 points in 10 minutes, but if things break where he gets 15 minutes, could he be a 20-point play? It's only your wild GPP sort of shot, but that's what you want in GPPs. The last one we look at here, we've got the Portland Trailblazers and the Lakers. The Lakers on a back-to-back. Anthony Davis, it looks like he will return. He's missed Sunday's game. He looks like he will be back for this one. LeBron, I don't imagine is going to rest, but at the time of me recording this, we haven't heard that. So they're going to have a full lineup. Now, if LeBron is out, then Kyle Kuzma will get the start again, and he'll be really good again. For the Blazers, Carmelo Anthony is out, so that's going to boost Derek Jones, Robert Covington, and Gary Trent. And Jones is at $4,000. So I don't mind using Jones. He is a little bit of a defensive specialist, and by a little bit, I mean almost exclusively. He's someone we can look at, but at $4,000, likely to see a few more minutes. He's averaging 17 fantasy points. He could easily have 25. I think that's worth looking at. Davis at 10-1 would look pretty good to me, especially if LeBron does happen to sit this one, which I'm not banking on. Well, Yusuf Nurkic, the salary's coming down. He's at 6,800, and despite the concerns about the minutes, he played 34 in the overtime game against Houston. He had 37 fantasy points, DraftKings points, and at 6,800, I'll take that every day. Now, it is a tough matchup against the Lakers. I'm not denying that, but I think Nurkic is going to be under-rostered. $5,100, as is Robert Covington, who is at 5,200, and people aren't keen on him after the start of the season, but no, Melo might help him out. And I think you could really be interested in using someone like Gary Trent at 41. He's going to get extra minutes with Melo out, almost undoubtedly. He can get hot. He can also be absolute ice cold, so I wouldn't want to use him in cash. But for a tournament, Gaz Trent has the value there for us. That's it. That's the games, the 5 games for Monday. This is your NBA DraftKings First Look. Subscribe, notifications. You can find me on the Josh Lloyd Fantasy Basketball channel, and the podcast is Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Guys, I will see you later. Bye.